So item one, call to order. Remember, I'm still trying to figure all this stuff out. So call to order. Attendance is Samantha Elliott, Steve Mayo, Mike McLean, Gail Sievert, Maureen Hickey, Charles Tukoski, Sarah Fowler. So the only
Matt Lowry.
and Matt Lowry. The only two people that are not here are Bill Boudry and Paula, who are on vacation. So
Okay.
1 and 2 are done. Okay, the next item on the agenda is the ARPA Fund and Rental Assistance Program. So in the package that Samantha sent, there was a rental assistance program criteria that we got. What I had done is I found an application through Littleton that so what I did was I had this application through Littleton. I mocked it up as it related to Wakefield, sent it to Sam, and Sam condensed it into this document, the Rental Assistant Housing Program. The reason we were doing this is Bill had brought up, which was, understandable, that there was just so much information. And at the last meeting, we said that we would condense it down to, let's just get it in a box and see how people feel about it once it's in a box. So this is the box. I want to emphasize, this is basically just at this point for the $200,000 ARPA money that we have to figure out how to spend. The income is we are looking at people who make 80% of AMI or less. The maximum grant, right now we have $5,000, a one-time grant issued directly to the landlord, utility company, moving company, or other approved entity, which means that the people aren't getting the money to spend wherever they want. The vendors who are providing the service will get the money. The documents required are government issued IDs, proof of housing to make sure that the address is in Wakefield, income verification in the form of tax returns or stubs, pay stubs, the invoice from a utility company, etc. They would have to provide those documents in order to be considered for the funds. At this point, we're restricting it to rental deposits, utility deposits, moving expenses, or any other one-time expenses. What this is not for is ongoing rental assistance. We will not be paying for a portion of people's rent in perpetuity. They get one number. This is what they get. That's it. The deadline, there's no really deadline. At this point in time, it's till the money run out, the $200,000 runs out. Once again, at any point in time, we can revisit if we want to continue this, if we can get more grant money or whatever, however we progress this housing trust. We can do that, but at this point, it would be rolling applications until the money runs out. Once again, it'll have to be someone who is trying to get housing inside Wakefield. That's the key, is they have to be inside Wakefield and 80% or less of AMI in Middlesex County. So that's what we're proposing. That's what this criteria is. I said, I found an application online from Littleton, amended it. We can send that out at some point for you guys to see it. And it's just telling people like how to do it. Once again, between Steve and the group here, we'd have to figure out how that actually progresses. But today's meeting was simply to put it in a box and get some feedback on the box. So open for discussion. What do you guys think?
Quick thing, Steve. We ended up losing Maureen. I don't know if she's in the waiting room, but she's not. Her box is gone.
Okay.
Nope. She lost her Wi-Fi and is trying to get back in. She said.
Okay, thanks.
One question that I had is we had talked about first last security. Is rental deposit just security deposit, or is it first, last security, what does that mean?
Well, rental deposit to me is first, they are asking for first and last. That's the deposit at this point.
First and last month, but not the security deposit?
They're kind of all the same. Like what I'm finding is they're all the same.
So I think so you would consider, this is Steve, Sam, you would consider all of that subject to this.
Correct.
Okay.
When you have to give let me emphasize it this way. When you have to give a lump sum to a vendor, in my case of my mother, who just recently had to have first and last month's rent, and then I have to keep upping that number every time they up the rent number. That's what I put in. So whatever, $4,000 is what I had to give the company to make sure she could get into the apartment. Will we get that back? Yeah, maybe. I hope so. If all goes well, but we don't, this is why we said, we don't know how people are going to leave the premises. Is there a possibility that we do the security deposit / first and last month's rent, which is one and the same of security deposits? We could get it back, but we can't give the money knowing we're going to get it back. Does that make sense?
I think, but that's a separate question.
Yeah,
think
I would suspect we'd be more likely to get back things like security
right.
deposit, not necessarily rent that was given in a grant.
I mean, that's a good point. I guess, like I said, I considered when my mom went into her facility or to her apartment, it was first and last month's, like the security deposit was, actually the security deposit was security deposit in last month, I guess, really. So, okay, that's a good point. That's a good point, Mike. I don't know.
And I also think what we would need to do is that when, so assuming, let's be very simple, that let's say the rent is $1,000 a month. We're in North Carolina. It's $1,000 a month. All right. So first month's rent is 1,000. Last month's rent is 1,000. Security deposit is 1,000. So I come into the Wakefield Housing Trust. I want $3,000. Okay. I think we have to make it, which is great, right? I think it's great under the program. Fabulous.
Okay.
You get in here, you become a citizen, you get, we give you a leg up. We do what we're supposed to do. The $1,000 for the security deposit, okay, that should be, we're going to have to send, and maybe Tom Mullen can help us with this, Sam. We need to send something to the landlord so the landlord knows that 1,000 is the town of Wakefield's. So we can be, helpful. I mean, it would be helpful for him to return it to us, not to the tenant when they leave and they're gone.
Yeah,
It's actually not the town of Wakefield's.
Well, you know what I mean?
yeah, housing trust.
I think it's
Housing
all,
trust.
I think it's all the town of Wakefield.
I
You know
agree.
what I mean? You know what I mean?
Okay, so that's a good point. So how does everybody feel about that?
Charles.
Charlie.
That was kind of what I was going to ask about, of whose name it's going to be in, and I'm glad you're asking town council, because I know these things are really highly regulated in Massachusetts with the interests and all that. So I think it's not the end of the world if it ends up being in the name of the renter. I think that it's additional incentive to be a good tenant and to have the incentive of getting the money back. But I think either way, it's probably fine. Not eventually, maybe not right now, but I'd love to hear kind of thoughts from town staff on how this would be advertised and the word get out there, because I probably a little worried that because it's limited, and I think it's appropriate, but because it's limited to people who are moving and not existing tenants who come on hard times, that's a relatively small amount of folks that would be eligible. So I would just love to hear at some point of kind of how you're thinking about kind of getting the word out. Thanks.
So Charlie, I'm sorry, go ahead, Sarah.
I'm sorry. Maureen says she's in the waiting room, Steve.
Oh, I'm sorry, I admitted her.
Yeah,
Okay,
and then her
there we go.
Wi-Fi quit. Thank you.
Yep. There she comes.
Is she? Wait till Maureen shows up on the screen. She in there? Can you see her?
She needs to put the camera on. There you go.
Okay. Hi, Maureen. Sorry about that.
Sorry about that. My whole house went down.
The Comcast.
Yeah.
So Charlie, one of the, wait, I lost my train of thought. I'm sorry. I'm getting old. So I think, so what the last meeting that we had, I believe that people have contacted the town of Wakefield in some capacity to ask if there was any funds available. And the Wakefield Housing Authority has also gotten requests. This is where the moving costs came in. That a lot of times they will ask the housing authority if there's any way that they could, is there any money available for moving costs? That's why we included that in this profile, that it could be related. And also the housing authority had seen that people couldn't pay the utility deposit. So that's how those three came in. As I said, the emphasis is we're trying to help people get into their apartment. We're not necessarily trying to help them keep their apartment. They have to kind of come to the table themselves to be able to pay the monthly rent, which is tough in and of itself, but the barrier can be at this point to try to come up with, if rent is $2,000 a month, to try to come up with $4,000 to $6,000 to get into apartment, even if they could afford the $2,000 rent. That's what we're hoping that this money is going toward. That's what the goal is. So that's why we're limiting it to, and I think Mike brought up a really good point. Are we okay with it being first and last month's and security deposit, which could be 3 times the rent number? I'm probably okay with that. But what's everybody else think?
One quick thing I wanted to add is that at the last meeting, you had set a ceiling. And I just want to clarify for commentary, are you talking about foregoing that original ceiling, or are you saying that the ceiling that you set last time is staying in place?
Well, we have to talk about that. What we have in the criteria at this point is the ceiling is $5,000. Knowing, how much rents are, how do we feel about that? Do we want it to be 5,000? Do we want it to be 7,000, 6,000? That number's up for debate. The point is that we're helping them with, the first criteria is we're going to help them with security deposit, first and last month's utility deposit, and moving expenses. That's what this is going toward. And that can be up to X amount of dollars. Is the X amount of dollars 5,000, 7,000? That's up for debate as well. So the first question is, the first thing to get over is, are we okay with it being first last month's security deposit, utility deposit, and moving expenses? That's what the money can go toward.
With a 5,000 cap, which would on 200 grand be what, 40 people or families? I'm comfortable with capping it. It would have to be that the money would be used within those categories with a maximum of 5,000. I suppose the tenant would have to pick and choose a little bit. I see that Matt has his hand up. Steve?
Yeah, I'm fine with this. I think it's a good start. One of my concerns would be the applicant. Would it be everyone who's on the lease, just so we wouldn't have, a husband and wife applying and moving around? Or how would that be protected? And then the other question is, who in town would be in the town offices would be administrating this, and is it going to be an extra burden on them, or is it something that can be rolled in relatively seamless?
Well, I can answer your first question. So on the application, the demo application that I first sent out to Sarah, it was the 80% is if you have 2 people earning money. If you have 2 people in the household earning money, let's say there's a parent and 2 kids, both of those parents are on there. And so it's 2 people at the 80% AMI. So we need to know who is all in the household. So the application has all those pieces. It's X number of people in the household for this place and this is what they're asking for.
Okay,
Okay, so that's in the application that template application that I
And I think
have
it's one $5,000 per apartment,
per apartment,
not two.
correct?
Yeah.
Per application, which is one apartment,
Right.
yes. So the question is that number 5? Is the number 7? We just we threw a number out for the box. But we can put any number in the box.
To answer Matt's second question about, I think it would, I'm looking at you. We always say this. I'm looking at you, Sam, right?
Poor Sam.
So, poor Sam. Sam would administer it. I would support her, but I do think that the chair of the Affordable Housing Trust would be the one that makes the final decision based on a recommendation from the staff. And I don't see it being a huge extra burden.
Well, Marie's gonna-
One
So-
quick thing, one quick thing to add to that is that once we are fully part of the Metro North Regional Housing Services Office, that MNRSHO, whatever it is, they would be helping also, or they have the possibility to help us administer this on the long term. Not that we have to, just as a potential.
so Sam, you would be verifying all the materials that they give you, or? I mean, there is potentially a little bit of work here to make sure everyone's documents, excuse me, pan out, so.
Yep. We'll have to kind of figure this out as it goes, but that's the current plan. And if it doesn't work, then we can revisit it. But at this point, the anticipation is that a lot of and also to answer one of your other questions, and a couple of you had brought this up, is about trying to get the word out. I'm happy to look and see if the state has some sort of place that they list some of this. I know that they list the affordable units. And I don't know if we could add that into something, some of that language, or how, and I can look at those different places. The Metro North Regional Housing Services Office website is also another place that this could be listed. So if there's potentially a couple different places it could be listed to kind of increase SEO, to get into specifics, but to make it more readily findable for people and searchable. And of course, we do our best to reach out to the units that have or the buildings and developments that have affordable units, and help to get the word out that way. Of course, always open to additional suggestions, and if anybody can think of anything else that seems important.
Maureen's hand is been up. Maureen, is your
Hi.
hand up?
Yeah, I did. So I think that's a good idea, Sam, and I don't think we'll have a problem getting the word out. I think once the word is out that there's some assistance, I think that it will spread very quickly. This is much needed in the town. I also wanted to comment on the $5,000 limit. I think we can revisit that, as a committee, if we're finding that it's too low. I think, but I think that's a good place to start. So I think it's a good idea, and I think we can put it on, it'll be on the town website. I have a link to the town website on mine, so we certainly can get the word out. But that's my comment.
I also think if I can jump in, a lot of I'm going to use the word lottery. A lot of the lotteries or applications are opening up for some of the affordable units we've already approved. For instance, the head of the lake, there's going to be 79 there. And they will have an administrator who will do that and make sure that these, applicants, and those are all rentals, meet the 80% AMI. So we will let them know, that's a great place. So there's a couple of units over here that are affordable. If we do a friendly 40B by Dunkin' Donuts, they'll have an administrator that'll have to do it too. So there's other ways of getting out, targeting these specific places too.
And I'm going to ask a question to Sam and related to that. So I did see in the Wakefield item an advertisement for I think it was 1 unit or something that had availability.
Yep.
And okay, so that will all be either in the item or on the website or on an email if you've signed up for it on the website, correct?
For the available affordable units that are the
Yes.
lotteries
So
that are
when this
coming up.
lottery, the head of the lake thing, when that lottery opens up, that will that will either be in an email if you've signed up or,
We kick it out too. They'll send it to us and we'll distribute it out.
okay,
Yeah.
okay, yeah. I mean, because that's the hope is
Right.
that, the.
So if we help
Wakefield-
people get into these units that
Yes.
are already,
Yes, yes.
developing.
Yes,
Yes,
and the reason I'm sorry, Sam, the reason I say that is being in this industry, it is still so hard to find where all the affordable units like are located in the Middlesex, Essex County area. It's very difficult. So that's what I liked about the M organization that we're contributing to is that there is a place for people to go to find it, because that's really very hard. So, okay,
And
I'm sorry.
Sarah has her hand up.
Sorry,
I like how big the hands are on this. You can see.
Yeah, you guys can see it well, I think. I wanted to ask the same question in a slightly different way, and it's about the volume of 40. Is that the right target? Like, will it go really quickly, or is 40 a lot of people that will take us a very long time to process? Because 5,000 feels fine to me. I have no objection to 5,000, but if we dial it up, it's fewer people, the money might go more quickly, and I don't really, obviously the opposite is true. I don't really know if 40 is the right number of people to serve with this, or if anyone has any thoughts on that would inform how much money we should give.
So what are you asking? It should be, you want to have $200,000 go to more people or less people?
Well, I mean, ideally more people if we think that the volume is there. If it isn't, then, I mean, I think 5,000 is reasonable, but if 40 people, families line up within the first 60 days of this and it goes very quickly, is that a dissatisfying because there were 80 people who needed it? And I just don't know if there's a way to approach what we think the need is and have that inform what the dollar amount is. Maybe not.
Okay, so I will answer that to how I think it should be handled. Remember, we actually don't have just 200,000. We have 700,000.
Yeah, probably close to 1 million all in.
Okay. So the point is the goal of this was to go with I don't want to say get rid of, but to commit the ARPA money within the parameters of how it was given to us. That was the point of this. If we are finding that there is a bigger need than $200,000 can afford, well, then we can look at the other monies that's available and say, okay, well, you know what? We don't have to worry about buying or contributing to we said with the other monies, we could contribute to, a soft financing for affordable development. We could do that. There's multiple things we've threw around. If we find that this is it, then as a group, we can come back together and say, hey, we're seeing a need. Maybe the rest of this money could go to here.
And
And-
know that we can always look at grants too.
And we can
to
always
augment
look at
that.
grants. We're seeing things moving in the state with affordable housing. We can go knock on, Mass Housing's door and say, hey, we're proving a need in our community. What can you give us? What can you give us to keep fulfilling that need? I think what at this point, it seems like we kind of don't know what we don't know yet. And the object of this is, let's start with this 200. Let's see where we go, see how it works. It's the same thing with Sam's, saying about the M organization. Okay, we'll commit the first 15. Let's see how it goes. It could be the most awesome thing that we've ever gotten ourselves into, or we could find out, yeah, not so much. We don't know. So this is trying to get the box around it. We're just trying to box it in, but still give us some flexibility to be able to manipulate, like, okay, so then we reconvene in 6 months and say, oh my God, that 200,000 is gone. What do we want to do? That's how I kind of see it.
Yeah, I think that makes good sense. So it feels like we've heard a bunch of in favor of $5,000. Are there folks that object to that we should talk through?
I don't object, but I think the point you brought up, we can play with the numbers if we care to, right? 4,000 is 50 people. I understand we want to get this program going, but the flip side is we're committing it, we're signing the MOU, and it doesn't have to be spent by December 31st of 2024. So we can contour it, however we see fit. You want to 3 times 7 is 21. You want to cap it at $3,000? We can serve more people with the first 200,000. I don't know that I'm personally ready to commit the entire $1 million to this one program. I don't feel that, so I don't want to get too far out ahead of ourselves saying, if all of a sudden 40 people show up very quickly and the 200 is gone, it's going to be a big disappointment to the 41st. So then we'll have to make that decision. Are we going to do more? On the other hand, if we made it 4,000 or 3,000 and we could serve more people, we might have a little more, wiggle room in terms of seeing how it starts. How is that demand that we're all talking about that we don't really know about? I suspect that Maureen's group is going to be, Maureen's going to be a
Yeah.
steady source of referrals. Even Charlie, if we did no other advertising, just the word getting out is going to get out. So I'm not taking a position on it. I'm just saying it's an interesting question you asked, because where do we want to cap it? And the only other thing I'd add is the language that I wanted to question was, or other related housing expenses. To me, that's a wee bit broad, perhaps a little bit vague. And, sure, there could be other housing expenses, but are we more comfortable that we can hit this max, whatever it be, 3, 4, 5,000, 6,000, whatever the trust decides, that we can hit it with these items, which are not cheap items, first, last, security, utility deposits, and moving expenses. Should we cap the categories too? And if somebody doesn't have moving expenses and they can get, put it all towards their first, last, security, great. If other people have moving expenses and that's their priority, and they want to use it on that, plus maybe a couple of security deposits, great. I'm not sure either. I'm just saying we can contour this, I think, however we see fit. I don't feel the money burning a hole in anybody's pockets, not mine, but I want to get the program started.
Yeah, I think that I'm going to agree with that. I think Maureen's group is going to be instrumental in not only like feeling it out for who needs what and how much it is. So, and did Maureen drop off?
Did we lose her again?
Did we lose Maureen
Did we lose
again?
Maureen?
Oh,
No, she's there.
Maureen, I'm talking behind your back, man.
I didn't hear it.
So Maureen, I think I'm going to look to you. You have people coming to you now, right, that are asking for help. What dollar amount would service the group just that's talking to you? That would be good information. Like, are
I-
they
I do-
asking?
I do think that the $5,000 is probably a pretty reasonable amount to
Okay.
get us started. I really do. And I think it's mostly going to be folks on our Section 8 program, and those are the folks that are going to be in the lotteries, for the affordable units. We always have people moving into the new buildings when they open up in the affordable units. And that's where they struggle the most.
Okay, so the expert in the group here is 5,000. I think so let's go through the list. Let me just go through these one at a time. We're committed to the income is limited to 80% of AMI or less. Everybody agree with that? Okay. At this point, the expert in the room says $5,000. We start there. Maximum amount that they could get. Okay. The use restrictions, we'll just go with first, last security deposit, anything that relates to getting into the first phase of getting into a unit. So whether it's first, last and security or security and last, or every vendor seems to have a thing. Moving expenses and utility deposits, we just cut it off there. Agreed? Okay, let's keep that one. There's no deadline. It's basically until our money runs out. The government documents, I think we can all agree that they said these are normal things that we've asking people for. And as I said, we have we can have assistance with the M organization. Sam, myself, looking at the agreements with basically, as I said, Maureen's probably going to be more instrumental in this in forwarding information to us. But knowing that it's available. And we don't even have to vote on this today. The whole object of today's meeting was to put it in a box. We can noodle this over in 35 days. We can come back together after I'm back and we can.
Or you could vote.
Or we can vote. What do you guys want to do? I don't care. Doesn't matter to me.
I tend
I'm
to
also
roll it out.
happy. I'm also happy to work on tightening all of this up a little bit more and following up with Tom Mullen so that you have a little bit more firm criteria to vote on if you'd like to do that. I just want to put it out there that you have either option, or I mean, obviously a variety of others too, but I'm happy to do that and then have a following meeting for voting.
I think that's the way it should go, because I think I would like, if Bill and Paula are on this board, I would really like them to be involved to make sure that we're all almost like, 100% we're into this. Like I said, my goal today was just to put it in the box as what Bill had asked for at the last meeting, which was a perfectly, thing to ask for. So yes, Sam, if we can take that Littleton, application that I had and run that by legal based on what we've got here, we'll come back in the next meeting. I don't even have to be here. You know what I would vote for? I'd vote yay. Sarah can take the meeting if you want to do it, and I won't be back for 30 days. So after Friday, that's fine with me. So we all agree with that? Okay. All right, so we're gonna put that item number 3 to rest. Next item is so Sam had sent out the MOU for the ARPA funds. We just need to, I think, agree to that, right?
Yeah, that has
Help me
been,
out there.
that was drafted by myself and, like I said, Tom Mullen corrected my errors on it or made his editorial suggestions on it. This is kind of a standard, there's a lot of legalese in here, but it is a standard agreement that's been used and regarding the fact that some ARPA funds may not be expended by December 31st, 2024. It gives 2 years to do that. There are some reporting requirements. It can only be spent upon what we said, and it can only been spent upon, it can only be used for the items that are enumerated in the trust, which was very easy, just attached a copy of the trust. Didn't have to go through naming everything. So all of the accounting will be done with our accounting because all the money's coming in there through anyway. So the quarterly reports will be very easy to do because Kevin Gill is going to give you the money. You spent 15,000 on this. You spent 85,000 on rental assistance. Bing, bang, boom, done. The rest is legalese, and that you guys won't all steal the money and take off. Are you here for the housing meeting?
Yes.
Yep. Oh, sit down.
Thank you.
So
Oh, I read through it. I have no comments on it. Anybody else? Any other comments? So can we vote to accept the MOU as distributed?
and I would ask that you vote to authorize
Just the chair.
the chair to sign it. Yeah.
Oh.
I move that we accept the MOU and authorize the chair to sign the MOU.
I second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Hi.
I,
Universal? Okay.
Okay, I'll run that around and have you sign it. And also at some point, the actual trust agreement, I will send out to have everybody sign. You'll get a DocuSign from my assistant, Sherry will send it out and CC Sam. So you all get a copy of the actual housing trust, which you've all seen and we've gone through. So thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay. Okay. Number 5, for closure of Heron Pond. Said, so you,
Okay, I can jump in on this too. So anyways, I received in the mail the other day a order of notice of a foreclosure of a affordable unit at Heron Pond. in any event, this is actually one of the original buyers way back when this was developed in the late 1980s.
Wow.
And
Actually, Heron Pond was the late eighties?
90s, 98, I'm sorry, 98.
Oh,
late
I was gonna
90s,
say.
the late 90s, yeah.
I thought it was
Um,
just here since I've been.
This person, excuse me. Are you here for the housing meeting?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can come in here and sit down.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, what's it? This is just online. This is the Board of Appeals. It's only online. It's a different board.
Yeah, which one?
No, you have to register and you.
Is this the board that's gonna talk about now?
So he is for one.
No.
This is a different thing.
Where do I
Yeah.
need to be?
Yeah, thank you.
Steve, he's looking for the board that's
Oh.
discussing the Hunt Street.
Okay,
Is that-
that's only online as well.
Yes.
Yeah, this
Yeah,
is the-
sorry.
Yeah,
This is the Affordable Housing Trust. I'm sorry.
Sorry
Need
about
to
that.
jump, no, yeah. Okay, I'm sorry. A little bit of hall monitoring.
Town hall monitor.
Well, at least it wasn't as bad as the last interruption.
Yes, I know, this one, yeah. But
Hey.
that could have jumped on when I was out there and who would have done it? Yeah, it was not as entertaining, right?
No.
So in any event, under the deed and the mortgage rider, unlike a sale where the town would get a right of first refusal, the mortgagee just needs to, or the bank, just needs to give us notification, which they did. I reached out to EOHLC and kind of talked them through it because they get notice too. And I said, you know, what happens? I haven't had one of these come before. What happens? I mean,
Right.
and she says, well, normally what happens is the town will get, if there's any overage, the town will get the overage because it doesn't have to stay affordable. That's the problem. The bank can go out and sell it for whatever. So that's the issue here. I did call the attorney that's handling the foreclosure. He has not gotten back to me. I'll keep pestering him. It's Cunningham Mechanic and Johnson out of Natick.
It was an interesting question, Steve,
Yeah.
because they're just gonna want their money.
They're gonna want their money and exactly, and we're gonna get the excess, but we lose an affordable unit.
We do lose the affordable unit.
So how do we keep it affordable?
Can we buy it for the mortgage?
We can-
Theoretically.
Theoretically, the housing trust could buy it and then keep it affordable, okay? The problem is that the way the trust agreement was created is that the housing trust cannot buy or sell property without town meeting approval.
Was it town council meeting or town meeting?
I think it was town meeting for the purchase of property.
I thought it was two.
So what is the bank
Yeah.
just wants their money?
it's
What's
borrowed.
the dollar amount?
I don't know. I don't know what it is.
Right, sometimes you'll see a mortgage and it'll be
Yeah.
a mortgage from 1902 in the amount of X, but
Yeah.
you don't know how much is paid off on it.
Right. And,
No, I know,
and-
that's
and
what
how
I'm
much they've
asking.
run up on arrears and things like that.
Taxes and stuff like, yeah,
Interest.
like,
Yeah.
so what's the dollar amount? Like,
Oh, no, I won't know that. I don't know that until he tells me.
okay, yeah,
Yeah.
Right,
I think we need to get the dollar
Yeah.
amount.
right, right.
Because what we want to do is even if, once we know the dollar, well, I don't know. I'm talking to the whole room here. This is my feeling. We want to keep it affordable, which means we want somebody in there that's 80% or 100% of AMI or less. So if there's people out there that we know what the dollar amount is, we could keep it affordable if we could advertise it as, if you meet this criteria, you could take this property.
I stand corrected, completely correct. Completely correct, Mike. It's because it's not the town that's buying it, it's the trust. That's the difference. It is 2/3 of trustees and the approval of town council. So if the trust wants me to, if the Affordable House Trust wants me to, I will continue, well, I've already reached out just to kind of get a sense. Didn't have any info for you. I will reach out and see what we can do.
Well, yeah, what's the?
I don't want to
dollar?
buy it at foreclosure. I'd rather not go to a foreclosure sale. I'd like them to kind of make it, it's better to have.
I would like to say,
It's
hey,
better to make
you
a
know what?
purchase with
You gi-
us
You give me
instead of-
40,000, you give me $400,000, we're done. Like, I don't know what the number is, but that's what we would want to know because
Right.
because
I know what you mean. But it's probably
because
gonna
there's
be.
people out there would be like,
right.
oh my God, can I get this I meet this 100% or less of AMI, I could get this.
Yeah, but the problem is that may not happen.
What do you mean? Mina?
When they do their foreclosure sale, they don't have to keep it affordable anymore. So now maybe the bank doesn't care because they have to give it back to the town anyway.
Right, I know, but
Yeah.
we want to keep it affordable.
Exactly, exactly.
So how do we do that? What's our best methodology? Do we have to
Our best method-
temporarily take ownership of it so that we
I
can,
think that may be.
okay,
That's my opinion. I don't know, is that yours?
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
it's tricky enough doing, if we decided as a trust to do that, to
Yeah.
buy a property out of foreclosure.
Right.
That's tricky enough. I think it's even trickier.
Yeah.
If the idea is, let's find that qualified AMI buyer
Yeah,
who's going to be able to pull that off.
we're not gonna be able to do that
Right.
because they'll be outbid
If
by
those are
someone.
the two
Yeah.
theoretical options.
on
we're
the
talking
foreclosure.
On the foreclosure, right. I want them to delay the foreclosure. Can we come in
about. And talk,
and
just
talk?
talk, just talk.
Yes.
Right.
Because if we knew what the dollar amount was, and there's a possibility that there's 80% or 100%, or I'm gonna say 100%, because 100% still qualifies as being affordable. 100% or less of AMI still, I think still qualifies for being able to get into an affordable unit. I know Sam might have a better,
Does that sound
No,
right?
I
Sam?
think,
Its ownership is a little bit different. So I'd have to just double check what it
Yeah.
is. I mean, obviously 80% or under would qualify, but
the
I
question
don't
is,
know.
if it's 100% or
Okay.
under, it might still qualify for ownership.
okay,
Okay,
I know
so,
what you mean.
okay, so you know where I'm going at? So it's
Yeah.
like, okay, so,
We're more concerned with the price. They keep the price and they keep it affordable.
correct.
Right.
Correct. So there's a couple things that play
Right.
into this, that people have to meet the income criteria.
So,
there
so
could
what
be
I'm hearing
people out
is
there.
Steve try to make this work and bring it back to us.
Yeah, I mean, I think we
Steve
gotta know what the dollar
Steve
amount is.
investigate it.
Yeah.
And get it back to
I
us.
think, I think we need to know what the
Don't
dollar
make any
amount is.
deals.
No, I'm not, I can't make any deals.
I say, I think we gotta know what the dollar amount is, because I think there's a
And-
possibility we could get it and flip it.
I think it's intriguing.
Yeah, and
I like
EOHLC,
intriguing.
EOHLC is, will help us on it, because I had a long talk with their,
Okay.
with their rep over there. What was her name? Caitlin something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the state is all in with trying to keep as much affordable. So I think we should at least
Right.
investigate that.
And the bank could say, no, we've had this, we've been dealing with this, just want to be gone, and you guys will get money, and that could happen too.
Could happen too.
Steve, how
And
does,
it's also something to keep in mind in the long run if we have other ownership-based projects, that it's always set up somehow in the deed, or that there's some component during the development that there is first right of refusal written in. If that's a
Well, it's
possibility,
different
because
for a
I know that
foreclosure.
Cambridge has that.
I bet that's on a resale. We have it on resales too, if they don't do it, but on a
I
foreclosure,
think
the
they have it on
banks,
foreclosures too.
the banks
I'll double
won't
check with
lend,
them.
that's the problem. Well, we'll see, maybe the People's Republic got stuff in it, but most banks will say, we're not gonna lend on that. We'll let you know, but we want to get our money.
Okay, I think I can, I don't know if we have to vote on something like this, but I think that we should absolutely investigate what the dollar
will do
amount
that.
is. And the unit, and get some
Yeah.
stats on that.
EOHLC didn't even know the dollar amount.
Yeah, so we gotta figure out
Yeah.
what we're talking about.
Right.
Any other discussion on that one? Okay, so
I
we'll,
think I just add that is clearly one of the trust purposes. I'm not advocating that we go after a particular property, but trying to keep affordable units affordable.
yeah,
Right.
no, that is absolutely, that's what we're here for.
Clearly
Yeah.
stated goals.
We're here to
Yeah.
Keep affordable units affordable, and we're here to make affordable units possible.
And I also wonder how hard did they try to even find anybody in the beginning? Because those, it's a nice development over there. It's,
I know,
maybe they had a really bad, and then who knows?
I know. I think that's,
Work, who
like I
knows?
said, we
They couldn't
gotta,
even do it, yeah.
right.
Do you know what that unit originally sold for way back?
I think I do. It originally sold for 199,259.
No, there could be a not large mortgage potentially on that.
Correct.
Or
Or who knows?
or it
How-
could have ballooned
Yeah.
out to be a bigger.
Right.
Okay,
Because
But-
I'm
But
thinking,
yeah,
interesting to
Same
look
thing.
into.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm thinking
Interesting.
Go for
probably
that.
whoever this was didn't pay
I
for a long time.
Well, yeah, that's what happens with
Yeah.
foreclosures, right?
Steve, let me know too if you want me to help with any of that, because I do think that there are some ways that you can look up some of the seconds and whatnot online.
And I'm not worried about the seconds. I'm worried about what they're owned, what the bank is owned.
The bank, yeah.
All right, we all good with that? Thumbs up? Okay.
They could be wiped out.
All right. Next fun item, item number 6, approval of the minutes. Thank you, Sam, for doing minutes. Is one of my least favorite things to do in my life is do minutes. So I'm so grateful for that. Any comments on the May 23rd, July 8th, July 29th? Sam, I did send you some comments online, couple very minor clarifications. Anybody else? Any comments on them? Can we take what do I do?
I would say, can we do all three? I'd
You
say
certainly can.
We can do-
move to accept all the three outstanding minutes as presented. With
Second.
whatever, yeah, with your
There are
changes.
some minor corrections though, before it gets seconded. Sorry. You might want to say with
Minor
corrections.
corrections.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were minor.
with
Typos
minor
corrected or
corrections.
whatever.
Yeah, minor
Move
corrections.
to accept the three outstanding minutes with minor corrections.
I'll second that.
Everybody in favor?
Yes.
Yay! Okay, yes. Nice. Okay. Item number 7, general comments. Anybody open forum here? Anybody want to talk about anything? Think of that? No? Anybody? No? Okay. Move to next meeting. Once again, I don't have to be here, but I am gone after Friday. I'm gone for 30 days. I won't be back till after September 13th. If we want to do something prior to that, Miss Sarah will facilitate the meeting. If not, we can schedule, Sam can maybe put out some dates after the 13th of September, if you want me.
So
Colin?
there is just as a side note, there should be a housing production plan meeting at the beginning of September too. For anybody who's interested.
Well, I think
For
I
the-
have to,
the
do I have to
kickoff.
be that? I think I have to be part of that. No.
I don't know that you have to be, but we'll be sending those out this
Okay.
week, just as an FYI.
Yeah.
So that should be going on that first or second week.
Okay.
I think it's good if you get something on people's calendars.
I do
As a-
too. So do we
So
want
people
to,
know.
do we want to do it? All I'm asking is, do we want to do it? If we do it prior to my return, Sarah's going to take over. If it's after my return, after the 13th of September.
Could I just throw a date out as a suggestion? Maybe September 16th, which is right after you come back. And I
Perfect.
only say that long because I need to reach out to Tom Mullen to talk about some things, and Steve has to reach out. That gives us ample time.
I'm gonna, September 16th,
As a Monday.
we have a town
that town
council
council?
meeting.
We have a meeting that night.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the third.
Yeah, we have,
Monday.
that's a special meeting, town council. Sorry about that.
Okay. Well, that week, anytime that
Yeah.
week.
Anytime that week I'm open. Obviously, I'm not, anything scheduled.
Yep, me too.
Any,
Should we
Uh,
stick with the usual Wednesday because people are used to it, or?
is this Wednesday? Yes.
Yeah.
Wednesday, the 18th? September 18th?
Yes.
Anybody? Okay, let's
Is
just,
everybody go with that? Charlie, were you okay with
I was
that?
gonna say avoid Thursday, so Wednesday's good.
okay.
Thanks.
Let's just throw that one out, Sam, and hopefully everybody will be able to join, and we'll get agenda obviously before that, which I can do. I'm not like totally out of pocket. It's just that I'm just not in the United States. But we'll get, the object for the next meeting will be hopefully to get some information on the Heron Pond, which would be
Right.
awesome, to kind of solidify the ARPA fund rental agreement thing. We can maybe send out that you guys can have somebody internally look at that application that I
Yeah.
had, and we can send that out and vote on that and get that started. And then whatever else seems to come up. Sound good?
Sounds good.
All right. Next meeting date we got, and so I think we can adjourn. Do we have to move to adjourn?
We usually do.
Yes.
Motion to adjourn?
Second,
All right, Maureen.
we're a good
Woo.
team, Mike.
All right. All in favor? All right, guys, thanks so much.
All right, good night.
Bye.